marketing. And over the course of my 30 years in the automotive business, one of the pleasures that brought me is I got to meet this guy. Our guest today is Matt Koenig. He's an old road hand from the automotive business. As a matter of fact, I have a Matt Koenig story when I'm giving speeches and training. I have my Matt Koenig story. It's in there about the use of postcards and using in your marketing that I picked up from Matt. But I've picked up a lot of advice and strategies and just friendship over the years from Matt Koenig. So he and I were talking just a few weeks ago about texting and how the communication industry has changed. It changes on a weekly basis, it seems like, but texting is the deal right now. So Matt's going to talk to us today about text marketing in 2022. Matt Koenig, welcome aboard, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me. And for those of you guys that don't know me, I've spent, like Terry said, I spent 26 years in the automotive sector, the first half of it running dealerships. And then I helped companies that you have heard of, like cars.com. I was a national trainer for them. So I helped automotive dealers merchandise to human beings better. But I also trained their entire sales team from when cars.com was virtually unknown to being a company that, well, took over Auto Trader. From there, Edmunds.com recruited me to help them figure out how to launch products to automotive dealers because they were just a research site. And when I left there, and this is where Terry and I connected, I had the honor and privilege of speaking at a workshop down in Dallas, Texas. And that's where Terry and I met in person. And I got to talk about text communication back then. And I was one of the first people in the automotive sector to utilize text messaging for lead generation. And that was something unheard of because texting, you know, everybody's been texting for, well, I mean, years now. But I got into mobile in 1995 when a company called Centennial Wireless came into a car dealership I worked at and said to my general manager, cell phones are the future. Everybody's going to have them. They're no longer like, you know, the big giant one that you saw in the movie Wall Street. Like everybody's going to have one of these in their pocket and you need to become a retailer. And I remember my general manager going, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Nobody needs a phone in their car. He said, if they get a flat tire, somebody's going to pull over and help. If they got to make a phone call that bad, they can wait till they get home. And like my jaw dropped. And at this time I'm a 20-year-old kid and I'm like, what is going through his head? Like he's losing his mind. Like this is the future. And I followed her out talking as I walked her to her car and I said, hey, I know the dealership said no, but can I do this? Can I just be a retailer for you guys? Like an independent one? And she went, sure. Handed me a stack of contracts that big, filled the trunk of my Honda Accord demo with cell phones. And a month later, every single person I knew had a cell phone. 2 months later, they all hated me because it was $1 a minute. And they went way over their minutes. But that was before texting, but that's what got me into mobile. Now, fast forward time in 2011, I had been working for Edmunds. They paid me well, great company. And I was sitting at a Culver's restaurant. I don't know if you guys, I haven't seen one down here, but up in Michigan, we had them. And Culver's had these like butter burgers and cheese curds. And I'm sitting there with my kiddos and it takes forever to get your food. And and as we're sitting there was a little thing on the table that said, text this code to this number and get a free custard on your next visit. And my kids all had iPhones already because their dad's a nerd. And they said, Dad, can we text? And I went, sure, go ahead. So they text in, we're waiting for the food. About 15 minutes later, they get a text back that says, show this and get your free custard. Well, they brought us our food. And I said, well, I think you're supposed to like do it on your next visit. That's how they lure you back in. And I go, but you can go ask them if they'll give it to you while you're here. And they did it. And I sat there and I said, if I can figure out a way to do this for car dealers, I was like, number one, texting fail. They should have delayed this message by an hour so that they would be sure we were gone and it would force us to come back and spend more money. So that was the first thing that came to mind, was there was a failure in how they did this. But the second thing that I said, automotive dealers aren't using texting at all for business. And if I can figure out a way to how to help them do this, like you can't give out a free custard, but I'm like, if I can figure out a way to help them utilize this, this is a game changer. And this is going to make me more money than I've ever made working for somebody else. And so I literally went home and went to work and figuring out how to create a texting platform, like how to get my own short code, how to do all of it. And that was the most idiotic thing in the world. Thankfully, it only took me about 40 minutes of research to realize that there were a bunch of places out, I say a bunch, about 4 back then, who would lease you a phone number and keywords. And so I said, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to do this. So I literally leased a texting platform back then for a whopping $45, put together a little demonstration keyword and a sell sheet. And I said, I'm going to go car dealer to car dealer. And here's how I'm going to set this up. Somebody texts in, it forwards their phone number to the car dealer. And then it sends, the customer back a text with the car dealer's coupon, all just in text, very low tech. I said, what was the sell to the car dealer? It was, you're going to know who is staring at your cars when they're on your website. We're going to put an overlay on. You can stick them in your windows on the car. So after hours, it says text this code to this number to get a special discount on this car. And I thought, what have I got to lose? $45 investment. Nobody's ever done this before for car dealers. I drove to the bottom of Indiana and just started driving back up to Southwest Michigan where I lived. I picked up 23 clients immediately doing this. And I realized very quickly I had underpriced my product because now I had 23 clients to support. I arbitrarily tripled the price 2 weeks later, picked up another 20 clients, doubled the price again, picked up another 30 clients. By the end of the first year, I had $250,000 in revenue and I was spending less than $500 a month. Now, here's why I'm telling you this, because I didn't invent anything. I used, while he's not my favorite because I'm an Apple-aholic, I took the Bill Gates mentality of take something somebody else has already done and figure out an easier, better way that people can use it and people will pay you for it. And so I spent the next few years doing text message lead generation and marketing in the automotive sector. And a real estate company saw this and they went, hey, can you do this for homes? And it's a company called Harmon Homes and More, who puts out a ton of real estate magazines. Ernie Blood's one of the partners there. And we became friends. And later I sold the entire book of business to those guys. And if you look in their magazines, almost every home has the MLS number. If you text it, it sends you back all the info on the home, generates a lead for that realtor. Well, fast forward time, and I've owned multiple companies, as Terry knows, and I've Amazon #1 best-selling book called Sell, Changing the Game Forever. It was a #1 hot new release. And I transitioned out of doing that and putting on events. And texting was always a tool that I used for 2 things. And I'm going to encourage you guys to write these 2 things down because this is what's going to be a game changer for you, no matter what your business is. Texting is extremely valuable in 2 areas. Area number 1 is list building. Okay. Russell Brunson and all the guys that do sales funnels will talk to you about building sales funnels and using email campaigns. And that's a good thing, right? But on a great day, email open rates are roughly 20%. On a crap day, text message open rates exceed 92%. On a bad day, if you get a text, you're going to open it. If nothing else, to reply stop to opt out if it's a company that somehow got your number that you didn't want. But it's actually about 98% open rate and about 92% read rate. Because even the ones you don't want, you read to figure out why you don't want it. And unlike email, they don't end up in spam. Now, if you're an iPhone user, you may have noticed though, Apple now has an unknown senders tab where some text messages will go. But even if they go there, they will still first show up with all your other messages. So you'll still see it at least once. So #1 thing for texting for 2022 and beyond that you need to do is utilize it for list building. And I'll explain how in a second. But then the second thing to do, and Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Russell Brunson, Dean Graziosi, all these guys have been hammering on this for a while. If you've noticed, they're using a thing called Community. It's an app, it's a platform called Community. It runs about $300 a month. If you've noticed any posts from Gary Vaynerchuk or these guys, it's like Tony Robbins, I think, might even be doing it now too a little bit, but it's like, here's my phone number, text me, yada, yada, yada. No, it's not. It's not their phone number. It's not their mobile. I have Grant's mobile. The one he is giving you is not his number. What it is a texting platform where you can feel like you have conversational text with them. All those folks that are pumping it out right now that are too big, none of them are actually really communicating with anyone. It's their staff. But what they are doing and what they've proven through utilizing this is that people want to have conversations with businesses and with business leaders. You guys are doing it for networking, right? Like you like having good conversations. If you do, shake your head because I know you're on mute. Okay, I do too. But here's the reality. Oftentimes when we're hooking up with a business or getting new ideas, we can send in a support ticket or an email request, but it could be days or weeks before we get a response. But with texting, you have the opportunity to immediately personalize the relationship with someone, and you don't have to give them your mobile. Now, in the past, we've done other things. Google Voice phone numbers, right? They're free. If you use Umail, you can buy a second phone number. But there is a different option. And it's one that still allows you to treat it similar to email, where you don't have to do it all the time. You don't have to manage it all the time, but you can still have real conversational texting with people. So number one is building a list. Number two is conversational texting. That's the second way to build your business with texting in 2022 and beyond. And I can't stress this enough. Until you've built a personal relationship with somebody, I do not recommend giving them your real mobile phone number. There are a multitude of reasons why, but the biggest reason is when you don't know somebody and you're doing business with them, 1 out of 100 people are not going to like the way you do business. They're going to hate it. And then they're going to say your business sucks. And then they're going to go share your phone number. And what you don't want them sharing is your phone number. If they share the one that you use for conversational texting and list building and things like that, who cares? You can literally block them from it. You can block them on your phone too. But the reality is, if somebody has your real phone number and they call and they get your real voicemail and they see that it's really you, things can just go sideways. And the reality is, you're doing this for business. Okay, so list building, conversational texting. Now I'm going to give you some tips that most people won't give you, but they're ethical tips and they're ones that we should all adhere to when it comes to texting. There is a very, very important reason that you want to use a texting platform. And Terry might talk about it at the end. If he doesn't, I'm happy to. But one of the reasons you want to use a platform for this is that you want to stay compliant. In 2013, a company called Lithia Automotive Group lost a $1.5 million lawsuit in the text messaging issue. And it was because the platform they used, which was cheap and junk because car dealers try and save money, the company they were contracted with was actually, when people would text stop to opt out, it wasn't removing them from the list. Well, the FTC will charge you $1,500 per text message that's marketing related that you send someone that they didn't want if they report you. So let me explain what that means. Let's say Jim is saying, hey, I do this awesome business where we have a barter system. I participate in one way up in Michigan called Midwest Business Exchange. He says, we got this awesome barter business. My phone number is, text me if you're interested. Somebody maybe texts his normal cell. Says, hey, Jim, I'm interested. And he's like, cool. So now let's say every week, Jim's got a reminder on his calendar and he's got a little copy paste that he just shoots out to all the people that he's got in his cell phone. Well, I can't opt out of that. Let's say Jim sends it to me and I say, hey, Jim, I don't want these messages anymore. And he sends me another one. Well, now all I have to do is report him to the FTC. Boom. Now every time Jim sends me a message, it's $1,500. Every time he sent me one after I said, I don't want it anymore, is a $1,500 fine to Jim. That'll ruin your business literally within 48 hours. If you've got a good sized amount of people you communicate with, you'll go bankrupt overnight if you're giving people your personal number and using it for marketing. So that's the reason I recommend not using your mobile. Okay. Now, when it comes to using a platform, you can use conversational texting, and by them opting in for it, because they opt in, literally they have to text a word to do it. And I'll show you an example of it in a second. But by using a platform, you can still have conversations, but if somebody decides they're done talking to you, all they have to do is type the word stop and hit send, and it can opt them out, and then you're protected and so are they. If you want to see an example of it, and I'll pop it in the chat just so you guys know, you can just text my name, by the way, the nurse couldn't spell, it's Matt with 1 T, to 833-981-0002. Now, here's another thing, write this down. Standard messaging rates apply. While it's hard to believe, some people still don't have unlimited texting. So if you're doing any type of text marketing, text communication, it is a requirement for the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, required by the FTC. You've got to say standard messaging rates apply, just in case somebody still pays for text messages, okay? But texting for 2022 is not rocket science, and that's the main thing I wanted to communicate with you guys today. there are a couple takeaways that I want you to be able to understand. Number one, you do not have to pay a third party to do it at all. You can literally set up your own texting platform with your own phone number and pay no monthly platform fees at all. As Terry knows, and I didn't do the full intro, but I actually have a course, and I told Terry I made a special deal for you guys. It's a $99 course that teaches you how to set up your own platform. By the way, you'll pay a $19 one-time fee for the platform. You will pay $1 a month for a local phone number, and you'll pay about $10 a month for 1,000 messages to be able to be sent. You heard all of that correctly. As a guy who paid after I built my business, I started doing it and setting it up for other businesses and managing it. I was paying thousands and thousands of dollars a month by the time I really grew it, because of all the different platforms, keywords, and phone numbers I was leasing. Well, then I learned I don't have to do that. I can set this all up myself, pay next to nothing. And as somebody mentioned, I think it was Hannah might have mentioned doing a done for you service for businesses. Now, one of the things that I do is I help small businesses, coaches, and entrepreneurs. If they go, I can manage it, but I don't want to set it up myself, I charge a small flat fee. I set it up, and literally within 24 hours, they're up and running. They have their own text platform and they're good to go. But I sell a $99 course that literally is under 1 hour. And if they just follow it step by step, they'll be up and running by the end of that 1 hour course. So the things I want you to understand with texting are this. Number one, if you're using conversational texting, treat it the same way you would if you were sending it from your phone. Have a conversation with somebody. Hey, if I'm shooting a message to Stefan and I'm marketing to him because he's on a specific list, like maybe he wants to know where I'm speaking next, and he's like, man, I want to go hear this guy speak, see what he talks about. If I send a message out and I do a campaign, I typically don't refer to people always by first name. If I'm sending a group text, obviously I can't unless I have their name and it's opted in. But I used to own a company called Rockstar Events, and I own a company called Rockstar Designs. So like, it just became commonplace. Like, hey, what's going on, Rockstar? Like, it's what I always said to people when I would talk to them. So oftentimes when I would do a marketing blast, I'm like, hey, Rockstar, it's Matt. I just wanted to drop you a note and say, hey, hope your week's going good. By the way, is there anything I can do for you? If so, just reply. And I would put a word in there like, hey, is there somebody specific you'd like me to help you network with? If so, reply with nothing but the word network. And I would do that for a specific reason. And you might want to write this down because I mentioned list building. You can create specific triggers so that if somebody replies with a specific word, it'll automatically move them or add them to another list. And now, so if I send a message out to all of you that said, hey, this is Matt, I've got some really awesome network connections. Grant Cardone's a buddy. He's like one of the top real estate guys in the whole wide world. If you're looking to network with anybody like Grant or someone else, reply with the word network. You reply with the word network, now it moves you to a list that says, oh, this is the networking list. Now I can set up complete automations for that list too. Hey, thanks for jumping on the network list. Do me a favor. Who is it you're trying to get connected with? Just reply and tell me their name, and I'll see if I can find somebody I know who's friends with them. Now, when they reply back, I can see in the conversational texting thread, hey, Stefan messaged back and said he wanted to meet that awesome dude named John Sturgeon. Hey, I know my buddy Terry knows John, so I'm going to reach out to Terry and try and see if I can put these two together. Or maybe Tammy replied back and said, I heard that this Hannah is like super awesome and I've got to get a good CRM set up for my business. Any way you can connect me with her. See, once I've got the lists segmented where I want, then I know how to communicate and this is the after conversational, here we move into the marketing, have a specific message for each segment. Just like with email lists, you can build texting lists and you can segment them out so you're getting the right messages in front of the right people. Stefan, I made a note that you do things like with workplace wellness, right? Not necessarily like losing weight or health or fitness, but see, that matters to me. And I have a podcast that I do. So I'm like, I wrote you down because I'm like, all right, I want to get him on there to talk about this. But like for me, if I wanted podcast guests, for example, I might put something out on social media that says, got a new podcast kicking off March 1st, looking for awesome guests. If you're in this industry, text the word podcast to this phone number. Once people do that, boom, now I've got a whole new list. And here's the beautiful thing I did. When you opt in to be on my list, regardless of the reason, if I say, I'm looking for podcast guests, I'm looking for people who like eggs for breakfast, whatever, it doesn't matter. Once you've texted in, You've just given me the right to market to you however I want. Now, bear in mind, do not mislead people to get them on your list. And I see a couple of people nodding and smiling, because here's the deal. If I say, ooh, if you like Southern fried, if you like hot chicken for breakfast, text KFC to this number, and people join in. And then a week later, they get a text. Hey, my name's Matt. I'm an accountability coach for men. If you need some accountability in your life, I'd love to help you. They're going to go, who's this idiot? They probably aren't even thinking about when they texted him for chicken. They're just going, who's this moron texting me about accountability coaching? Because it's bait and switch, right? So the typical marketing rules apply. Yes, I love text eggs to 8675309. That is the best. That is the best, Terry. God, I love you, bro. So make sure you're honest with what you're opting people into, and also be clear with them what you're doing. Like if you were connected to me on Facebook, you'll see my wife and I are kicking off house church here, which basically, if you don't know that phrase, it's kind of like small group in church, like the 5 to 15 minutes of real deep study of Bible stuff. I got my ordination a long time ago, so I do a lot of teaching and preaching stuff. So 5 to 15 minutes of like common sense, plain English Bible breakdown. And then we share a meal and we wrestle with it, like with our friends, like that's what it is. So we're recording this to share to help other people be able to do it in their homes. So we put out, hey, this is what we're doing. I do a Bible study live 5 days a week during the weekdays in the morning. And I shared out, hey, we're kicking off this house church thing at the beginning of the year. If you want to be part of it, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get once a month, we're going to do like a live coaching call with all the house church leaders to pray for you guys, go through what your struggles are. Every week, you're going to get a video with the little teaching and a downloadable like thought starter guide, so you can throw out some cool questions while you're sharing a meal with your friends. If you're interested, text church to this number. That's it. They know what they're getting. They know what it's about, and they know they're going to, and I literally said in the live, if you text into that list, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get a text message letting you know when the information meeting starts. So when the day we're going to do it, you're going to get an invite sent out to you. And each week you're going to get a text reminding you, here's what's coming. That's it. Like if you keep your message honest, straightforward, tell them what they're jumping in on, they'll do it. And don't just take my word for it. A recent study, and I've shared all this stuff online, a recent study showed right now, almost 60% of Americans are already opted in, receiving coupons and discounts by text. 48% of people surveyed, dig this is so great. 48% of people surveyed said, I want to receive text messages from businesses I'm interested in. Half the people out there are saying, I want a business to text me. Ask that same group how many want to get emails from businesses. Like next to none. That's why email or Gmail's got such a strong spam filter, and why they created the tabs that by default any marketing gets dumped into promotions. You have a great opportunity in 2022. All of you guys are entrepreneurs. You've got different awesome businesses. Everything from like Jim, I'm going to be connecting with you. I love the barter network stuff. For fun on the side, I build websites for folks. I still love it. I can't get away from it. It's fun to me. I should, but I can't because I just love it. But all of you guys have good stuff. And like right now I'm seeing like text CRM to this number, text LinkedIn to this number, right? Like text barter to this number, text health. Like there's so many cool opportunities. And here's the other great thing. Maybe you're in a space where a couple people shared where you're going, I'm in a spot of transition. I know what general direction I'm going to be working in, but I'm not sure where I'm going to land or how I'm going to do it yet. But maybe you've got a decent network on social media and you go, once I get started, I'm going to need to hit the road running. So I need a list of people I can grab quickly to like introduce what I'm doing. Man, financial advisors like Jose, like here's the thing. You start reaching out saying, I'm doing X and I want to give you Y, so do Z. It's like boom, 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 3 steps. So great example. Just like with any marketing you do, if you want to get people on your list, you got to buy them. What do I mean by that? I mean, you just have to give them something worth more than they're giving you. It's just a transaction to get this started. So for example, you see a Facebook ad, a lot of people are doing, watch my free webinar. I think all of us are probably over that ad. And all those webinars is a 90-minute sales pitch, right? It's annoying and horrible. But what you can do, for example, Hannah, if your CRM has a 7-day free trial, like maybe like what HubSpot or somebody else does, you could say, hey, I'm giving away a free week trial of our CRM. If you want to check it out, text this code to this number, text CRM to this phone number. Boom. Right. Thanks. Thanks, Tammy. That's so horrible. But that's how we feel when we get sucked into those stupid webinars. Like, I've spent so much time that I can't get back watching those freebie webinars. Stefan, if you do consulting and things for businesses to help people get more fit, like I'm at a stand-up desk right now, right? Like, because I've been on a fitness journey for the last year and a half. But if you were doing that, you would offer people something worth giving you their phone number. That's it. There's no magic. There's no super duper secret. Be a human, give them something worth trading their phone number. But once you do that, don't forget about them. So that's the last kind of piece I want to encourage you guys to write down is don't forget about the people who you enticed to start a journey with you. It's one thing to just market to people, but if you tell people, hey, text this to opt into my list. That way, if you ever need anything, you can always text me, and I promise. I always say to people, I promise I'll get back to you as soon as I'm available, always within 24 hours. Why? Because once a day, I log into my texting platform, so I know I'm always going to get back to them within 24 hours, like intentionally to look through and see if I missed any messages, okay? But if you tell people you're going to communicate with them, then do what you told them you're going to do. Okay, so let me just really quick, I'll recap it, I'll wrap it up for you guys. Two ways for 2022. Number one, build your list. Number two, I said conversations, but number two, build relationships. Build a list, build a relationship. Those two things are what you should be using texting for in 2022. Key tips: one, get a platform that you have control of so they can't bump your rates every stinking month. Number two, give people a reason to trade you their info. Always be honest, tell them what you're going to give them and then give it to them. And last but certainly not least, don't forget about them. If they've trusted you enough to trade you their phone number, make sure you make it worth their while, give them good stuff. A lot of you guys in your businesses, I hear stuff with the LinkedIn stuff from John, with financial advice, with customer relation management, with health and wellness stuff, with barter network stuff. You always have a good reason to send people a message to keep yourself top of mind awareness. But here's the last tip I'm going to give you. Once a week is enough and sometimes too much. Like, for example, if you're a car dealer, I don't want to hear from you unless I have service due on my car. And we have a Tesla, so it needs tires, brake pads, and windshield wipers. That's all you service. Like, there's nothing to service on the car. So Tesla doesn't need to text me ever. But if they did, I'd want them to text me about every 6 months to go, hey, let's rotate your tires and change your wiper blades. Anything more than that is too much for me. If you're selling a product twice a month, if you're just sales pitching and that's it, and you're not really, don't really have a relationship, twice a month is about the most I would do it. What I would recommend you all do though is this: once a week, text a free tip that will help make their life better. A long time ago, when I first became a professional sales trainer, I taught our salespeople this: when you make a sales call, leave people better than you found them. Doesn't matter if they bought from you or not. If you leave them with a smile that they didn't have when you got there, then you left them with something better than what they had. But always leave them with something of value so that next time you're there, they go, hey, he always leaves me something worth sitting down and talking to him for. Think of it the same way with your texting. Every week, drop a nugget that they can use. A lot of people hate this because they're like, I do a done for you service though, or I sell this, so I don't want to tell them how to do it. If I tell them how, I can't go sell the service. I'll tell you this right now. If I charge a monthly deal, like for a car dealer, I'll charge them $300 a month, which isn't a lot. And I'm only charging them that low right now because they have no inventory. But I'll charge them $300 a month to set up a platform. And basically, I set the platform up and forward the leads, and I'm done. Like, literally in 30 minutes, I'm done with the setup. And then they pay me $300 a month for the rest of their life, and I do nothing. And I literally spend maybe $12 a month in text messages. Okay. But the reality is, I don't want to even do that. I would rather just go, here, buy my course for $100, set it up yourself, and never pay me again. The funny thing is, by giving them access to stuff, going, hey, I can save you guys some money. Here's a link to my course. Do you know what happens most of the time when I give that to dealers? They will end up buying the course and they'll go, yeah, it's easy, but I just don't feel like doing it. How much do you charge a month again? Boom, now I get business. The same will work for you. If you give them a little something that doesn't cost you anything, but adds massive value to them, they're going to go, oh, well, how much do I have to pay you to just do this? And it opens a doorway for you. Same things, like I'm just, Stefan, you just happen to be right in my eyesight, man. So like with Stefan, if you help people, get their employers or employees healthier and more fitness focused, you might say, hey, you know what, here's the 3 top tips I work with businesses on. If you do this, this, and this, your employees' health will go up, your insurance costs will go down. I would encourage you to start doing it today. Hey, by the way, if you need help getting it implemented, because sometimes the outside voice speaks louder inside your business, feel free to reach out to me. Here's how you can. Like, you're giving them, you can literally go through the year and give them all your tools. And here's what, if this is true, nod your head yes. You can give businesses or prospective clients every single step of the way how to do what you're doing, and 9 out of 10 won't do it. True or true? And that's why you exist, because you could show them, here's the key to the kingdom. You can do it for free. And they go, why don't you just do it for me? How much? So I want to encourage you, start enticing them with things that are valuable, and they'll start going, how do I pay you to do it? Okay. And texting is your foot in the door, and it's your best way to be top of mind awareness. Let all the other suckers fight over their email inbox. Half of them are ending up in spam anyway. Just become their best friend with this, and you will cut your advertising costs by 60 to 70% within 6 months. I'm going to drop this last nugget, Terry, because I know we got to wrap up, but I don't want to leave without saying this. Once you build a list by text, if you're running ads on like Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, you can also upload that list in and exclude anyone with those numbers and email addresses that you also capture from your marketing. So now you're also not running ads to the same people again. You can just send them for less than 1 penny a shot across the phone, instead of trying to pay $7 a click for the same person. I'd much rather text you directly, pay 1 penny, and have my link in the text message. I bet you probably would too. So think of it that way too. You can also cut your ad costs by doing it. That's about all I just wanted to cover with you guys today. But one quick question. Do you feel like that was something that's valuable that'll help you? If you do, just give me a cool. I'm glad that it worked out for a couple of you guys. Thank you so much. And thank you, Terry.
So we've got about 3 minutes. If anybody who has any questions for Matt, feel free to just hop in before we have to get out of here.
Yeah, quick question actually. Where do we go to sign up for the course? Because with all my nodding, you might see that I'm a little bit bought in.
I'm glad you asked. Hold on 1 second, and I'll just paste the link in there for you guys. And that way you've got it and you are good to go. Give me 1 second. I'll just copy this.
Well, I'll let Matt type, and I'll tell you this. I use text marketing when I am doing speaking and in person and in live in-person events. When I say, hey, I've got this free great bonus, if you'll text Terry and I give the phone number, my opt-in rate is about 90%. So, and my opt-in rate on my website for my email convert kit thing is close to 0. So statistically 0 would be the opt-in rate. So 90% versus 0 is the opt-in rate that I found.
Pretty flipping amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's mind blowing. And here's the thing I want to tell you guys before I paste the link in. This is important. Everybody write this down. TERRY. This is a $99 course, but because Terry had me as a guest, I created a coupon code for you guys. If you put Terry in there, okay, so you'll click on the get access now. You put his name in, it takes it from 99 to 39. I'm literally chopping it down to $39. And here's what the course includes. So before you buy it and go, is it a training on how to market properly? No, I do drop some nuggets in there, but here's what this training will teach you. And I'll just go through it again. 1, it'll show you where to buy a platform for $19, one-time fee, never again a monthly fee for a platform. Okay. Typically the platform is what you pay for, and then they're whacking you for minutes on top or messages on top. You're going to pay $19. That's the platform. Okay. In that platform, you can set up triggers, lists, automations, all of it. but you have to have a phone number or the platform is useless. So it also teaches you how to go to Twilio and get a phone number, but it shows you step by step so you don't screw it up, because you will if you don't know how. And a local number you can get for $1 a month, or you can get a toll-free number for $2 a month. Okay, so $20 on a platform you'll spend. These are the things in addition to the training that you'll pay for. $19 for the platform, $1 a month for a local number. If you're like me and you do business all over, you'll want a toll-free number. That's $2 a month. Last but not least, when you're doing the setup, you have to, on Twilio, they give you like $15 of free credit. You can't set it up if you're using their free credit. You have to put your card in and like buy $10 or $20 worth of credit. Okay. So the training will show you how to set up the platform step by step. It'll show you how to set up the Twilio integration step by step. And it'll also show you how to set up with Zapier, which if you are somebody who goes, I want to get an email notification every time someone opts into my list, I also show you how to do that in the training. Okay. So I teach you step by step how to set up your own platform, get your own number, and then you'll pay 0.007 cents per message. With Twilio, you pay for when they text in, you pay, when you text out, they pay. So it's 1.5 cents total for the message, that you do. So 1,000 messages, $15. There you go, is what it costs. So I teach you how to do all that, which is approximately $30 less than simpletexting.com, who charges $45 a month for 1,000 messages. So shows you how to do every step of that. Plus you also get access to me in the training. So if you have questions, you'll know how to get in touch with me. I gave you guys my real phone number in this earlier, the 269 Michigan number. That's actually this phone number. So if you saved that, you can text me on there, send me your contact card or whatever, and then I'll save it. But if you have any questions during the training, if you hit me up, I always get back to you quickly and help you out with it. So it'll be awesome. But do not forget to use the code Terry, otherwise you're going to pay 99 instead of 39, which I won't be mad at it. The per text fee, great question, Hannah. That's Twilio is who charges, and it's just per message. So you pay 0.007 cents per message. So that's the round trip. It's 1.5 cents. So when somebody texts to join your list, you'll pay 0.007 cents. Your automated reply will be 0.007 cents. So it'll be 1.4 pennies when somebody opts in. So think of it this way: pay-per-click, anywhere from $1.50 to $12. You'll pay to get them on your list. Text, 1.4 cents. Pretty substantial savings.
All righty, 12:31. So I want to wrap this up and get out of here, but I don't want to leave everyone hanging. So Matt, thank you so much for popping in. Join us back here on Zoom in 2 weeks. Tom Coates will be here with us, for those of you who know Tom. So Tom Coates is joining in. Next week, Jim will be hosting the event in Murfreesboro, 11 o'clock at the Burger Bar.